Let's go, baby! Hey guys, welcome back to the channel Mopar Life, and today I'm going to do a little experiment about this Hemi tick situation. Now, thankfully, no, I don't have the Hemi tick in my beautiful 6.4 liter, but it does exist. There's plenty of people out there with the 5.7s and the 6.4s that say, hey, out of nowhere, next thing you know, my lifters started ticking and boom, the motor's gone. And what happens is they say that the top of the motor gets starved for oil and the lifters start rubbing against the camshaft the wrong way. There's not enough lubrication, and then boom, the whole thing's gone. So you definitely don't want that in your car. And then there's also plenty of other people out there that say, hey, I've had 100,000 miles on my Hemi and I've never had any issues with it. Well, of course, everybody's been trying to figure out what the problem is. Now, the consensus seems to be, my understanding anyway, is that there's just not enough lubrication, especially when you have long idle periods. So if you sit, stop and go traffic, or you just park your car for a while and just let it run, then after time the oil pressure is just low enough, and also the way the motor is designed, it doesn't offer enough splash, I guess, to cover the top part where those lifters just get jammed up against that camshaft. At least that's my understanding anyway. I'm not a mechanic, but I am a car enthusiast, and I don't want my Hemi to blow up. Now, I change my oil every 3,000 miles. I know it calls for longer periods than that, but I'm old school. That's just the way I've always done it. Even on my daily driver Toyota, which you could probably never change the oil, I still do it every 3,000 miles. That's just the way I am. So what my experiment's going to be today is this car's ready for an oil change. This is not my daily. This is my weekend fun car. And I have just about almost 3,000 miles on it, within a couple hundred miles. But the oil that's been in here, I haven't changed it for a year. So usually if I don't reach the 3,000 mile mark in a year, then I'll just change it, because I don't want to have oil in there that's too much older than a year old. Just because I'm assuming it breaks down over time regardless of whether or not you're using it. So anyway, what I want to do is take some reading. I'm going to get the car up to operating temperature, and then I'm going to take some readings of the oil pressure and see what the oil pressure is at idle. And then I'm going to change the oil, put fresh oil in it, and get it back up to operating temperature, and then see what it says about the oil pressure with fresh, brand new oil in it. So compare it to year-old oil that's got 3,000 miles on it versus brand new oil with 0 miles, and see if there's any difference. Is it higher, lower, the same? Does it even make a difference having the fresh oil for the oil pressure? And if it does, and if my oil pressure stays a little bit higher at idle, then maybe that is a testament to the fact that you do need to change your oil more often and keep fresh oil in there. I don't know, it's just an experiment, but I'm going to see what it looks like, and you are too if you keep watching. Okay, so we're at operating temperature, 204 degrees on the coolant temp, and sitting here with it in park at idle, we're looking at 28 psi, and seems to be hovering about that area, 27, 28. That's just in idle at park. So I'm going to change the oil. We'll put some fresh oil in there and do the same thing, and let's see what it does, if anything. See if it's higher than 27, 28, the same, or lower. Be interesting. Well, let's change the oil real quick. Got to jack the car up, and then of course take off the 4 10mm bolts for this little skid plate, and then undo the 13mm drain plug and let it drain. Open up the oil cap to let it vent, and take off the old oil filter and put the new one on. And as always, I always write the date and mileage so I know. And don't forget to take off the catch can and dump it out. I take my catch can off twice between oil changes, so that's why there's not a whole lot in there. and then make sure it's secured back on there again, and then put 7 quarts of the Pennzoil 0W40 Ultra Platinum. Set the oil life back to 100% and you're good to go. Okay, now we've got the oil change. Let's go take it for a little run and get the operating temperature back up. Okay, so we're up to temperature. We're at 206 degrees on the coolant anyway, and oil pressure looks like it's exactly the same as it was with the year-old oil. Look, 27 to 28. There is literally no difference. It is exactly the same as it was. Well, for what it's worth, I thought this would be exciting and interesting, but turns out it wasn't exciting at all, and maybe just only a little bit interesting. I did the calculations, and I had the oil in there. The old oil was in there for 2,500 miles and for 15 months, which a little over. Normally I try and stick to that year rule, but it was so hot here this summer in Texas, I didn't even want to get out here and change it. But as it turns out, I guess I didn't need to be in such a rush anyway, because it doesn't seem to affect anything at all. The oil pressure stayed exactly the same, with literally no variation from the old oil. So I don't know, maybe it's just super great oil. Maybe that Pennzoil Ultra Platinum is just super awesome, or I was just trying to overthink this into something that it's not. But anyway, so I guess that has nothing to do with whether you may or may not get the Hemi tick as far as the oil. So I guess we're still back to that whole understanding of the oil splash at the top. So maybe it's time to get a Hellcat or a Melling oil pump or something like that if you're really worried about it. I don't know. Personally, it is what it is. I just drive the car and I enjoy it. I try and take good care of it. But it's, you know, if it's going to blow up, it's going to blow up. I'm going to do whatever I can to keep that from happening. So, I don't know. We'll see. But in the meanwhile, I'm sure I'm going to enjoy it. If you have any comments about this little experiment, just put them down in the comment section. Let me hear what you think. Thanks for watching.